wife, Matilda, said, this was the middle of August, she said, my bones say there's going to be cold tomorrow. Jebby said, I don't think so. Woke up to about this much snow. It was a coming down. It snowed and snowed. It snowed down. It snowed at an angle. It snowed in circles. It snowed up everywhere. It just kept piling up higher and higher. Jebby had to tie a rope from the house out to the barn. He'd go out to milk, and he's there milking. The milk froze and made sounds when it hit the bottom of the pail. It was that cold. He couldn't believe it. The next day he went out, and he looked, and there was the mice, and the cats, and the dogs, and the cow all together, snuggled up, trying to stay warm. It was way cold. Fact is, it snowed so much, he had to start digging tunnels. He dug a tunnel to the outhouse. Kind of important, you know. I don't mean to be crude or anything, but, you know, usually in the outhouse you hear this splat. Well, it didn't work that way no more. It sounded like marbles dropping in chimes. Kind of pretty in its own way. Anyway, it was cold. Must have been 11 to 7 degrees below. Something like that. Anyway, it was a long, cold winter. They ran out about everything. No food, no wood. In fact, Jebby had to go out and cut down that big old cotton tree in front of the house. And by this time, snow was up here, so that's where he cut it off. Good thing it was there, though, or that'd have froze for sure. For sure. Anyway, one day, about middle of March, Matilda says, my bones say it's going to be warm tomorrow. She says, I don't think so. And she says, no, you better go and get some supplies in town before everything gets mucky with all the melted snow and stuff. Well, Jeb waited till morning. Turned out to be a bad thing. He got up in the morning, looked out. It was still cold and blowing. The wind was sounding like a banshee. He got his 2 dogs and hooked them to a little sled, and off they went. It was so cold still, he couldn't believe that she said it was going to be warm. The dogs were going along. It was so cold, in fact, just as they were coming into town, the one dog froze in mid-stride. Cut him out of the harness, went into the store, and he bought his supplies, brought him back out, put him on the sled, and told the other dog, well, here we go. But what happened? It was warm. Things was melting. Well, they tried to go. They lit out of there fast as they could. Weren't near fast enough. Before long, old Jeb was up to here in slush. He was going about halfway home. You look back, the dog had drowned in the slush. Cut that dog out, and he took hold of the harness, and he started pulling. Put a few things in his pockets just in case he had to let go. But he pulled and he pulled. He'd look back every once in a while, and it seemed like the sled was getting further behind. The leather was so wet it was just stretching out. He just kept going. Finally, about nightfall, he got home. He was so tired, he turned around and looked. Couldn't see no sled. There was the harness going out there to infinity or something. Anyway, he was too tired to worry about it then. He just tied that thing up to the old stump. Went inside, ate, and just fell exhausted on his bed. Next morning, Jeb got up. He went outside. There was just maybe that much snow. It was nearly all gone. And the leather on that harness had dried out. And it had pulled the sled right up in the yard, right there. Well, Jeb and Matilda, they made it through the winter. All right. Now, I know what you're thinking. That can't be true. It's true. Let me tell you, it's true as true can be. True as you and me. I got actual data, facts to prove it. You see, my grandpa, when he told me about it, I didn't believe either. But he took me up to the old homestead. And there it was. Right there where he said, tangible proof. There was the stump. Case closed.
So if we could have 1 minute.